When people find out that I have a podcast, one of the very first questions that I get asked is, why? And often I have a pretty straightforward answer to why I have a podcast. But recently I have been thinking a little differently about the Creativity Uncovered podcast and trying to delve deeper into why exactly I am continuing this project. And I have discovered some kind of unexpected benefits that have come out of me doing this podcast. And in today's episode, I would love to share some of those with you today. Hi, my name is Abby Gatling, and this is the Creativity Uncovered podcast. Now, if you haven't tuned in before, this is a podcast where I uncover how everyday people find inspiration, get inventive, and open their imagination. And in each episode, I explore how people find creative solutions at home, at work, at play, and everything in between. And then I share with you some tried and tested ways for you to then summon creativity in your own lives the next time that you need it. Usually I am interviewing someone else about their creativity, but every now and then I love to jump on the mic and do a bit of a solo episode to just give you a little bit of insight into what I'm thinking about every now and then. So I have been doing this podcast since May 2023. So that's actually just over a year at the time of recording this episode. And since then, I've had close to 50 conversations about creativity. And oh God, I've enjoyed them so much, I must say. These conversations have been with so many different interesting people from across the world and from all different industries and all different walks of life, and so many different views on creativity. I have absolutely loved unpacking them during these episodes. And some of the people that I have been speaking to have worked within the creative space. And then some of them are actually just other people simply living their lives and finding opportunities in the everyday and then seizing those opportunities to be creative on a daily basis. And it's just been so wonderful to hear these stories and to be exposed to all these different opinions and viewpoints on creativity. And for me, when I think about why I'm continuing to do the podcast, I feel as though there's been so many benefits to me having started this project, and so many more benefits than what I initially expected. So if you tuned into my first episode of Creativity Uncovered way back in May last year, then you would have heard that I started this podcast because, quite frankly, I was feeling just a little bit creatively burnt out running my marketing business, Crisp Communications. I was finding myself having to be creative on a daily basis and having to do it on demand for each of my clients. And but my creative burnout ended up sort of dissipating, and I found myself bouncing back and being reinvigorated and re-excited by my creativity after I had a wonderful conversation about creativity with my brother. And that sort of got me thinking like, oh, okay, other times when I have been talking about creativity and the cool things that people are doing in their lives, it just made me realize that this is the thing that fills my cup. This is the thing that makes me kickstart my creative inspiration again. And this is where I get my energy from, and I get inspired. And basically I decided that I needed to have more of these types of conversations in my life. And so basically this podcast is my way of having these conversations regularly. Basically, I have creativity on tap. And it is, by doing it regularly, it is ensuring that I'm building that practice of having these creative conversations into my daily life so that I can continue to be creatively inspired. And so now I record podcasts at least once a week, and it has had so many benefits. Not only for my work, I was feeling creatively burnt out, and that obviously was going to affect my work at some point, but it's had so many benefits in other parts of my life as well. So firstly, it has just made me feel so alive and energetic and creative and clear in my mind about what interests me and what motivates me, and therefore what I want more in my life. So this clarity has actually prompted me to take a step back and to think about the bigger picture of my business, and why did I start it, and what am I doing now, and what do I want to be doing in the future. It really has helped me start to structure my business to ensure that I'm being completely true to myself and true to my vision here. Secondly, another benefit of Creativity Uncovered is that it has also allowed me to connect kind of unexpectedly with the people around me, the people in my networks who I don't necessarily talk to all the time. There may be Facebook friends or Instagram friends or, even connections on LinkedIn. And the podcast has acted as a really, really great conversation opener with these people. So basically, every time I release an episode, and I generally get a message from someone who's just a little bit left of field, someone I don't talk to all the time, but has taken the time out of their day to tell me that they've tuned into the podcast and that they feel inspired in their own creative sense. I've had people say that they've taken up playing the piano again, or they want to bust out the paints, or they're inspired to do that next DIY piece at home. Or I have people coming up and saying, you know what, actually, they are creative. And they hadn't realized it earlier until they listened to an episode. I mean, there is so much creativity out there in everyday life, and whether it's keeping your kids entertained or deciding what to cook for dinner or solving a crossword puzzle, all of it taps into that creative brain. And I'm so pleased that this podcast is helping shed light on that a little bit more. So just the pure excitement that comes through when I have these conversations and messages from these people that I already know and they're already in my network, but it has allowed us to connect on a different and deeper level. And it's just been so heartwarming, and it's a truly wonderful dopamine hit, I must say. And so that's connecting with, the people already around me. But another benefit has that the podcast has actually helped me create a brand new network of people. And now I have so many new friends across the world who have this shared common interest with me. I have met teachers, and I've met artists and songwriters and social workers and parents and mathematicians, all these wonderful people who love creativity, and we have absolutely bonded over that. And it's been really cool because, not only have I managed to have these great conversations with them on the podcast. But now I feel like we have connected and they've become my cheerleaders. They're sending me likes and messages on socials. I get cute little messages back after I send out an email with my latest episodes. I'm just generally feeling the love. It's really nice. And plus, now I have so many more excuses to travel and so many more places to visit. And I'm sure I can, swing a night or two on each of their couches. So definitely some thumbs up there. And lastly, in my reflections, another benefit that has come out of me running this podcast is that Creativity Uncovered has helped me keep creativity at the forefront of my life. And that sounds funny because I've just said to you that I was being creative every single day and I was feeling burnt out. But it's made me realize that creativity is a massive value for me, and it is something that I want in my life all the time. And so it has kept that at the very forefront of my mind. And so now I make time to do creative things for myself. I have carved out time in my calendar to do things just for me, not for my clients and not for my business and not for my family or anyone else who's asking it of me, but purely my own creativity driven by myself. So I just allow myself to have time to draw or to doodle or to do a puzzle or to film a video or to read a book. And all of things, they're either creative in themselves or they serve to help me relax, which then allows me to make space for fresh ideas to emerge and to replenish me so I have the capacity to then be creative again in the future. And it's been wonderful. Actually, changing my routine to include that little bit of downtime has been a real game changer, and I'd highly recommend anyone do that, just to carve out a little bit of time for yourself every day to do something for yourself. And so I guess aside from just simply having a ball running this podcast, because I've had so much fun doing it, these have been 4, I guess, unexpected additional benefits to hosting Creativity Uncovered. And I'm so pleased that people ask me why I do the podcast and ask me how I got into it. And I just think these types of conversations are really great for me to stop and take a step back and to reflect, because I feel as though, like most people, I'm just running at this crazy, crazy pace and chasing my tail most of the time. And these conversations really make me stop in my track and think, yes, why? Why am I doing that? And actually, this process of reflecting on why I'm doing the podcast has actually just made me feel so, so grateful that I have had this opportunity and I've had the resources and the capacity to be able to embark on this journey over the past year. It has been so wonderful. And it's also made me feel super, super grateful that so many of you are taking an interest in it as well. And you've been donating your time to me either to listen to an episode or to join me in a discussion. And for that, I just want to say thank you. It's just amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I jump on today and share that with you because it might prompt you to do a bit of reflecting too as well, because it's actually a wonderful thing. It feels a very peaceful sort of process. So there you go. That is why I'm doing the podcast and some of those unexpected benefits that I have received throughout this journey. Thank you so much for your support and for your love and for your attention and for tuning into yet another episode of Creativity Uncovered. Until next time, take care. If you've made it this far, a huge thank you for your support and tuning into today's episode. Creativity Uncovered has been lovingly recorded on the land of the Cubby Cubby people, and we pay our respect to elders past, present, and emerging. This podcast has been produced by my amazing team here at Crisp Communications, and the music you just heard was composed by James Gatling. If you liked this episode, please do share it around and help us on our mission to unlock more creativity in this world. You can also hit subscribe so you don't miss out on any new episode releases.